Well, let's bring in Representative Byron Donalds from Florida. He's on the House Oversight and Reform Committee. Welcome to Fox and Friends. Now, you say that the Republicans, and I guess Kevin McCarthy has said so too, that you guys are already putting Merrick Garland and everyone involved in this raid on notice that they will come before hearings. And I guess my question to you is, that makes me happy. I'm glad we're doing that. But how do we undo the fact that Biden's FBI raided their political opponent's home for over 9 hours? How do we get back to normal America after that's already happened, Congressman?
The way you get back to a normal America is that you have to have new leadership in America. If Joe Biden and Merrick Garland have proved anything, is that they do not care about an even-handed application of the law. This is about Mar-a-Lago, but it's more than that.
Yes.
Go back to when parents were domestic terrorists because they had questions about what was going on in their child's school. Go back to the fact that you had Joe Biden's White House working with the NEA for that to happen behind the scenes. Or the fact that you have Joe Biden and his administration have been quelching dissent with media and social media companies, which in my view is a complete violation of the First Amendment of the United States. This goes to the leadership in the White House. It goes to Democrat leadership in the United States Senate, who refuses to say anything about these issues and hold this administration and Department of Justice accountable. Last point I'll make on it. If we're going to say that the documents in Mar-a-Lago, which were on paper, were a threat to national security, then why did James Comey and the Department of Justice at that time, back in 2016, say that there was no reason to even prosecute Hillary Clinton, even though it was clear she had national security documents on a server, and that, yes, it's also clear that she smashed those servers and she wiped those servers clean before the Department of Justice and FBI could gain access to those records?
Yeah, they're trying to forget that whole part of the record. There's no doubt about that. Congressman, like our viewers, I know you saw Joe Biden's speech in front of a red-lit Independence Hall on Thursday, where he effectively called his political opponents, MAGA Republicans, a threat to our country. Well, yesterday, our own Peter Doocy here at Fox had a chance to ask Joe Biden if he wanted to clarify that and whether he considered all Trump supporters a threat. Here's what Joe Biden said.
Mr. President, do you consider all Trump supporters to be a threat to the country?
You can't make that case. I don't consider any Trump supporter to be a threat to the country. I do think anyone who calls for the use of violence fails to condemn violence when it's used, refuses to acknowledge when an election has been won, insists upon changing the way in which the rules count votes. That is a threat to democracy. Democracy. Everything we stand for rests on the platform of democracy. When people voted for Donald Trump and support him now, they weren't voting for attacking the Capitol. They weren't voting for overruling an election. They were voting for a philosophy he put forward.
Do you buy it, Congressman? He says he doesn't consider any Trump supporters a threat to the country.
No, I don't. He's only doing this because he knows he did a terrible, stupid thing. That speech was dumb. They shouldn't have never done it. The imagery was bad, but the words and the destruction to the country was far worse. Look, somebody should remind Joe Biden that the issue he has right now with his approval numbers is that you have independents and also some Democrats who don't agree with how he's doing his job. This president has ignored the rule of law at the southern border. This president is forgiving anywhere from $300 billion to $1 trillion in student loans where he has no legal authority to do this. This president signed off on an Inflation Reduction Act where he and his party lied because it's really about the Green New Deal and climate change. But they couldn't get that through if they told the truth, so they lied to the American people. Those are threats to the democracy as well. But last thing for Joe Biden, it's incumbent now for Republicans, whether you're a MAGA Republican, Main Street Republican, whatever the classifications are, or frankly any American, to actually fight for the soul of America and to fight for the soul of the Republic. Because we do not believe in just ignoring the rule of law when it suits your interests, and we definitely don't believe in either packing or unwinding the Supreme Court because we did not not get our way. That's what Joe Biden believes. That's what Raphael Warnock believes. That's what Catherine Masto in Nevada believes. Mark Kelly in Arizona believes. Maggie Hassan in New Hampshire believes. They believe that stuff. They will vote for that stuff. They will do that stuff.
Congressman, a story that continues to be jaw-dropping and in my estimation should be screamed from every television graphic and every newspaper headline is that the FBI apparently instructed, advised, consented with Facebook to censor the Hunter Biden story. But it's not just that. Now we have the latest information on how much collusion actually took place between the Biden administration, the CDC, and big tech for censorship, to censor various personalities and opinions online. Now, the House Oversight and Judiciary Committee for the Republicans is telling Facebook to preserve any and all FBI communications regarding the Hunter Biden laptop. What can be done here to investigate and hold accountable this government and big tech collusion when it comes to censorship?
Well, before you hold people accountable, you have to bring this stuff to light. And I think us asking them to preserve their documents is critical to bring it to light so the American people can see the depth of the corruption here. And yes, this is corruption. When you are using the tools of government to suppress thought in the United States, like I said earlier, that is a violation of the First Amendment because government is wielding its power to suppress the thoughts of the American people if they don't agree with this administration. So it is about Hunter Biden. It is about COVID-19. But it's also about all of the stories that this White House does not want to have covered, that the press go along with. So while the American people are trying to figure out how to get our country back on track, they're not even getting the information about what's going on in their government because it is being suppressed by this White House and by the Department of Justice in some respects and possibly the FBI. You got to bring this stuff to light. Once you do that, then you can get down to the ability of how you're going to hold them accountable. Is it restructuring budgets? Is it putting in appropriation bills? Key words to prevent this from happening again. And then also, after the midterm elections, you're going to have a presidential cycle. Is it new leadership at the top to once and for all clean out these agencies?
Wow. That would be good to hear about.
Would be nice.
So, Congressman, you are in the beautiful and free state of Florida, and it looks like you have some new neighbors from California. Governor Newsom's in-laws apparently don't like living under his leadership and want to live under the leadership of Governor DeSantis in Florida. What say you?
Well, I welcome them. Welcome to Naples, Florida. It's a great place to be. We're the great state of Florida for a reason. More people have left California under Gavin Newsom's leadership than any governor at any time in any state in the history of the United States. It goes to show his lack of leadership and what he's done to that beautiful state. Because California is beautiful, folks. We all know that. But their leadership is terrible. So listen, I think they made the right decision for themselves. So many people are choosing Florida for obvious reasons. Gavin Newsom should take notes. Take notes, man, on why people are leaving your state and coming here.
I mean, so many people are choosing it. But this is the governor's in-laws. Their son-in-law is the governor of the 5th largest economy of the world, and they're like, peace, we're out of here. We're going to Florida.
Listen, man, we all know in families people disagree. It happens all the time, all across America. Somebody in the family's got to have some sense. I'm just glad it's his in-laws.
But to the congressman's point, Gavin Newsom is most probably going to seek higher office. It's not exactly a good resume bullet point to say, I was bequeathed the Pacific Ocean, and I drove the most Californians out of this state in the history of California.
It's true.
Not exactly something you put at the top of your resume.
Yeah, you'd think the in-laws might have waited a couple years and, wait till they got to the White House and then move to Florida. But
let's hope not.
Listen,
California
real quick, guys. I would love nothing more than for Gavin Newsom to run for president. Please run, because your record is awful. Your record's awful. So please do it. I can't wait.
wow.
All right, Congressman Byron
I
Donalds.
agree.
We can't
Byron
wait till you're on
Donalds.
Fox
Thank
and
you,
Friends
sir.
again. Thank you.
Great to have you.
We love having you on.
I'm Steve Ducey.
I'm Brian Kilmeade.
And I'm Ainsley Earhart. And click here to subscribe to the Fox News YouTube page to catch our hottest interviews and most compelling analysis.